work to make sure we're driving down costs in our state. We're going to make sure we're protecting our people from some of the, abuses that we've seen from Washington, D.C. And we're going to make sure we're making our state more competitive. And I said, and by the way, we're going to do it. We're not raising taxes. We're not raising fees. And we're still going to make the kind of investments in childcare, public education, public safety that we think are going to be important to continue the kind of progress we're making on those things, right? And they said, that sounds like a tall order. And I said, I hear you, but let's get to work. And we're closing up on our session tonight, where we were able to pass legislation that is our Utility Relief Act, which is actually going to put money back in the pockets of every single Marylander because of these rising energy costs that we've been able to see, that we've been able to help to streamline in-state local generation for energy, that we're actually capping the compensation that we have for some of these energy executives because we're the ones paying for their compensation, that we were able to do things like ending any forms of price manipulation inside a supermarket so they're not using your data against you. And so where, you would not pay a different price than I would pay, even if we might be next to each other in a supermarket because they're utilizing data against you. That we're able to do things like streamline housing, and particularly around transit and make sure we can build more housing and build it fast. That we decoupled ourselves off of the federal registry on vaccines because, again, our vaccine policy should be driven by data and science and not be driven by internet conspiracy theorists, that we're able to make our state more competitive and actually put together the most business forward piece of legislation that we have seen in over a decade inside the state of Maryland, attracting more business to the state of Maryland and continuing the kind of progress that we're seeing on GDP and economic growth. And no new taxes, no new fees, and still making the large investments in childcare, public education, public safety in our state's history. So it's like, so the thing I'm really proud of is that if we said it, we meant it.